It's been a journey in terms of my views on the LGBTQ community. I didn't have fear of them. They're wonderful people, but I still had in my head homosexuality itself is a sin. Obviously I have learned and grown, and that is not where I am now.
There was definitely a long period of time where I thought that, I can just pray away all these feelings and thoughts, and one day, they would just magically go away, and obviously that didn't work.
Trey was a fun kid. Trey enjoyed arts and crafts and always saw the world in a different way, very responsible and just a joy to be around. Just so fun to see the world through Trey's eyes. One time, I had a friend come over with cute little shoes and a purse, and then Trey saw a red purse and red shoes and went over, put the shoes on, flung the purse over her shoulder, and strutted down the hall like a catwalk. And we were all like, wow, that's impressive. I mean, they were born to do that walk.
My mom has always been a very fun and outdoorsy, sportsy person. She's also very kind and considerate, and she's very selfless. I'm trying to make her be more selfish because she just does everything for and everyone else. And I want her to, do things for her.
It's been a journey in terms of my views on the LGBTQ community. I grew up in the church and everything, and we've done a lot in foster care. So I actually had quite a few gay and lesbian friends because a lot of them adopt. I didn't have fear of them. They're wonderful people, but I still had in my head homosexuality itself is a sin. These people are wonderful, but it's a sin, which was always a clash in my head because it doesn't make sense that I think this is a sin when I'm telling people to be like them.
I was very conflicted growing up because I knew I was queer, but I never really had the lingo to describe that. And then so growing up also in the church, you're well, everyone's saying this is a sin, so what does that mean for me in my life?
Trey was a happy kid, honestly, but there's a piece of Trey that wasn't able to be their full authentic self. And again, because Trey's such a compliant child, they just shoved themselves down and prioritized everybody else's needs. But that is unnecessary for a child. A child is a child, and they should be free to be their full authentic self. Trey's my firstborn, and so had more time together with just the two of us earlier on. And I think just Trey being a more gentle person, our personalities worked well together and we got along. I know there was some, pull and tug, and some of it could be growing up as a teenager, just finding themselves.
I feel like we were close, but I think pretty much more for my own safety and making sure I was okay. It was, at a distance, which is okay. It is what it is, but I feel like it's definitely changed since then. So when I first came to terms of realizing that I'm probably not cis was when I was pretty young, but I did grow up in a very conservative Christian household, and it probably wouldn't have been beneficial for me if I did come out fully at that time. So I was like, I can wait until I'm 18 when I move out for college, and that's pretty much what I did.
It was difficult because there was unlearning. It was difficult because things that you thought were true were now not true. And I consider myself an educated person and not like easily brainwashed, and realized that I had actually been indoctrinated and I had to unlearn some things. And just because I've been taught something didn't actually mean that it was in fact true.
You love to learn. And I think that's something that I've learned, to also love to learn. And I think that is something that has been helpful for me.
I'm glad that you see that. I just think it's very important to always be educating yourself, be okay to be wrong. I think some of it was a concern because you go from having a concern of a big black man to a black queer trans woman, and I know it is not a choice. Just with all of the policies across America and bills coming out, and to have a black queer trans woman as an adult child, it's a concerning thing. I'm thankful that Trey's mental health right now is good, and so that part is good, so I'm not fearful about that, but I have concerns about their safety and sadness, but mostly for Trey, because Trey loves so deeply and connects, and I just knew it was going to be painful for you to lose friends and family. And I'm going to cry.
I'm sorry.
It was hard.
Yeah.
Because I know you love your family and you love your friends.
I lost a lot of friends. And people that I thought were in my corner. It's really difficult growing up in conservative spaces and coming out as trans, as like that's literally like probably the worst sin to them. And like my mom said, like I really do love my family. I love my friends.
It's just heartbreaking to me because I knew that Trey wasn't able to be their full authentic selves, or didn't feel free to be their full authentic self. So it's a journey and a process, and I'm thankful that Trey keeps putting themselves out there and keeps like, nope, this is still me, not a phase.
Now in the past couple years, almost graduating college now, it's been an interesting journey to see where I've come and finally been okay with accepting myself and really taking strides to see myself the way that I see myself already, and now just showing that to the world.
I'm happy with where we're at, and I'm thankful that Trey has been as patient and as kind through this process, because I have definitely not been as affirming, and I've apologized. So it's gonna take years to fully heal. The good thing is that I've come full circle, and now I am an advocate to the church, to women, to the Black community with mental health. I think it's important for the church again to hear that trans youth and those in the LGBTQ community are at high risk for suicide, but it is not because they are part of the LGBTQ community. Probably need to repeat that. It is not because they are part of the LGBTQ community. It's because of how they are treated. I really did actually think that it was something in them, and so like a self-hatred, but it's a self-hatred because we gave them the self-hatred.
What do you wish you knew before Trey came out?
I wish I knew that it was okay to be a parent that affirmed a trans child. You don't actually need to understand in order to love. You don't need to understand in order to affirm and support. You don't need to understand. You will need to educate yourself. You do need to learn. You do need to be respectful, but you really only need to love and to be there, even if you don't understand. And it's okay if you're still growing and still learning. It will be a process. We are all on a journey, but at the end of the day, it doesn't actually matter what the rest of the world has to say. What matters is your child, and your child's happiness. It doesn't actually matter what anyone else thinks.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about love.
It's always about love.